Welcome back. So today's tutorial is going to show you how you can incorporate a bottle of Prosecco or even a bottle of wine into your festive design that you could give as a gift to one of your friends or family. So welcome back. My name's Sharon. If you haven't been here before, welcome to my YouTube channel. A few months ago, or maybe even a few weeks ago, you saw me create a design in this unusual sort of shaped basket that came from Morrison's. This is a basket that would be used to carry condiments to your barbecue table. I use it for two different things here in work. I use it to store my scissors and my utensils that I use for my floristry job. But I'm also using it to create designs, floral designs in it. It's quite a useful basket. It's fairly versatile. I've already done an autumn design in it, which was fairly long and low. But today I'm going to do, hopefully, an L-shape arrangement. So quite simple. I don't have a huge amount of flowers, but I am going to try and incorporate the bottle of Prosecco into the container. It's an ideal size and shape to support the weight of the bottle, and I think it's going to work well with my flowers. What I need to do first of all is waterproof the basket. It will obviously leak if I put fresh Oasis in there. I'm not going to be worrying about these two end sections for the moment. I'm only going to be using the larger piece. I'm going to insert in there just an offcut of cellophane. That could be a plastic bag, it could be any type of waterproof material. And at the base, I'm just going to put in an offcut of floral foam. And that will help raise my bottle of Prosecco up slightly so it's more visible in the container. And then I'm going to be arranging into a block of floral foam as well. So that's going to be put in there on the side. So if I just hold that open, bring the camera in a little bit close, you should be able to see. So the small block at the base is just to support my bottle of Prosecco. And it could be wine, could be mulled wine for Christmas. And this design I'm intending to do as a Christmas arrangement, but you could of course do this all year round. And then I'm ready to go. I'm wondering, is the bottle too low in the container, and do I need to raise it up a little bit more? I think the answer is yes to that. So what I'm going to do is add another small slither of foam at the base, and that will help raise up my bottle of Prosecco. So what I've done is I've just put another little section of floral foam in the base, and the reason I'm using foam is because they're offcuts that I have hanging around. You could pack it out with some polystyrene or some paper, but you just need to raise it up so it's more visible in the container. I think that's going to work a bit better. It's still fairly stable. If you're worried about it moving around and you're not confident enough in your floral design, then you could put the bottle this side and then you could tape it to the handle. But I think that's quite secure in there, and I'm not too worried. My floral foam is on the opposite side, and what I'm hoping to do is to bring a sort of L shape through from one side to the other. If you haven't seen an L shape created before, then this would be a good time for you to pop back to the Back to Basics series. For me, an L shape is the natural progression from the line arrangement, and if I link here, you will have seen the first line arrangement that I did in the Christmas style. So we get to follow through on the arrangements, learn the basics, which are really important in this job, and then expand on those basic skills that you've already learned. Okay, so you've seen me use birch many times, and this time of the year I'll start to have silver and gold birch in. But what I've done is added just some ordinary little glittery baubles on there. I felt that the bottle of Prosecco itself was a golden theme, and this would create a really nice link. And I'm going to go nice and tall with these. They're dried birch twigs, so it doesn't matter so much if you don't cut the bottoms of the stem and don't give them a clean cut. And it wouldn't even matter if they weren't in floral foam at all. Now that's worked quite well to give me some height in the arrangement, and it also brings that golden colour all the way up to the top. Now I've gauged my height on the length of my basket. This is the longer length, it's bigger than the height, so we go about double container, and I've got that nice elegant line starting to take place by just using the birch. If you haven't got birch, some twigs from the garden, willow, pussy willow, catkins if you're in the spring, could be contorted hazel. I'm just going to thicken up the back section of the birch so we've got a stronger line there towards the back, and then I'm going to bring some over onto the opposite side to hopefully create an L shape. Now an L shape arrangement is different from an asymmetrical triangle, and what you've got to think of really with the L shape is quite obvious that we're trying to create a design that looks like an L. So I've brought the back section down and I'm going to come out towards the right hand side around the shape of my bottle to start that L shape and get that outline shape into position. With my smaller offcuts of the birch, I'm also going to help strengthen that line and make your eye travel over. I don't want to overcrowd where the bottle is, so I'm going to keep that quite simple. So the L shape works fantastically for this because the bottle sits in the crook of the L. So next I'm going to introduce some greenery, and this time of the year I've always got pine here in work. This is the silver pine, and this is now going to help me create some depth in the arrangement. I'm going to start just putting some material in at the back and some taller pieces to accompany the birch. I don't want to make the design too flat, so I'm going to angle them backwards so that we're starting to create some depth. And of course, I'm starting to cover that foam at the back as well. It's important because it brings actual weight, makes my floral foam nice and stable in the container, and helps to bring some colour and texture right the way through to the back. And we get a lovely three-dimensional feel. Now if we look at it sort of from the side, I need to fill in where the handle is and to bring some of the same material towards the front. For a moment I'm going to be using just the pine. If you don't have pine, just use what you can get hold of in the garden. Conifer is fantastic at this time of the year. You might have some evergreens like camellia, rosemary works really well. But I'm trying to create that strong L-shaped outline. I'm not going to be adding any materials into the middle section for a moment because the outline shape for me is more important. Okay, so if we see this now, I might add in a taller piece of greenery towards the end, but I'm aiming to get that lovely shape from one side to the other. I don't want to overfill this area here because that will then become an asymmetrical triangle, an unbalanced triangle, rather than an L shape. I think that I've got enough greenery in there to create the outline. I've only got 2 flower types in here, and they're both florist material, so maybe something that you'd have to order in from your florist shop. But if you can't get hold of exactly what I have, then a supermarket bunches of roses will be fantastic. But I'm using quite an unusual rose. This is called Red Eye, and it has the stamen very prominent in the centre of the rose. I just thought it was something a bit different, something that you maybe haven't seen before, and something to inspire those who are looking to have a career in floristry. So this is Red Eye. You can get a white version of it as well. And then I'm going to incorporate some ilex berries into the arrangement as well. Now you will get these nearer to Christmas in most of the supermarkets, but your florist shop will be able to order them in for you if you want to practice a design. If you don't have anything like this, look for just your ordinary holly berry from the garden. You might have viburnum, but anything that's going to give you a different texture and a different shape. So we're looking again at contrasts. Now I'm going to bring one in on the longer side so that I'm starting to create that L shape. Ilex is a good example of line. It's a linear material, so it makes your eye travel up and down. It's very elegant, and it's going to work really well to help me emphasize that L. The 2 positions are very far apart. There's nothing that links them together. So with the bottom section of the ilex that I haven't yet used, I can now add it in low down, not too wide that I lose the L shape, but it helps link the colour and makes my eye follow that buried material through from one side to the other. Before again I overfill my floral foam, I'm going to add in my lovely rose. This one I think is the smaller of my roses. This is going to work really well as my taller flower, and I'm going to start what we would call a visual line, a focal line, working from the top to the bottom. Now I don't want to overcrowd those little baubles because we don't want to lose that lovely texture and colour, but I'm going to look at staggering the roses down and through onto the other side. I only have 5. It's quite a big rose, so I didn't feel like I needed to put a lot of them in. We've also got to remember that the gift in this arrangement is also the bottle of Prosecco, so we don't want to cover that up too much. But a visual line, again emphasising that L shape, is what I'm working towards. This is another of the smaller roses, so this is going to work well on the end. And then the bigger roses will give me a more dominant visual flower in the focal point. Let's put my final red rose in. I'm going to remove most of the foliage off this one because I've got some glittery baubles to add in the focal point as well. But you can hopefully see and appreciate that the line is staggered down through the front and then comes off to the one side just to help emphasise that L shape. If you're using supermarket roses, they quite often come in bunches of 10. So you would create exactly the same visual line. You would emphasise that L shape, but by putting your roses closer together. If you've got a more premium rose, which has a much bigger head, then you might be able to get away with just using 5 like I've done here. My centre section still isn't filled out. I've got some baubles that will link together with the gold at the back. This little group here I've wired together, and these will work really well draped over the front of my little basket. That helps again to give me a visual link between the top section. What I've also thought of, and I didn't think of it when I was planning this arrangement, but these 2 little sections here where I currently don't have anything could be utilised for 2 small boxes of chocolates. Or you could even put 2 little champagne glasses in there, also as a gift. And I'm pretty sure that I've got glasses here, so when I photograph it, I'll put them in so you can see how that would work. But if you're giving gifts at Christmas, you might have another alternative just to pop in those 2 redundant holes that are on the side. Right, let's see where we're up to. Some more of the greenery just through the centre of this arrangement now to fill out and to cover my floral foam. I have got more of the ilex berry, but I think I've got enough in the design as it is here. So the last pieces in there, and I've covered all my floral foam without overfilling it and making it look very heavy in the middle. I've just got a couple of golden baubles to link between the bottom and the top. And then I think I'm done with this arrangement. What I'm going to do with the remainder of the baubles is to add them to the birch branches. So you could glue them onto kebab sticks if you wanted to. That gives a really solid structure to work with. But I think that hanging them off the birch twigs there at the back is perfectly adequate for what I want to do today. I've just got one more left, and what I've done with this, I've hung it onto a smaller piece of the birch, and that will just help bring the golden colour out to the outside edge. Now I'm going to step back. I'm going to take a look and decide whether I need to bring some greenery to the top of the arrangement. I'm thinking if I add this final piece, it's going to make it quite top heavy. So I'm going to leave that section out. I'm not going to worry about trying to get any of the green towards the top. For me, it's working quite well as it is. Now, if you've practiced and you've learned the line arrangement that we've looked at a few times in the past, then this is a really good progression for you. You create that focal line and then you sweep off to one side to create that L shape. Keep it simple, don't overcrowd it if it's your first time making the design. And when you've mastered these skills, then you can add in some more colours and more flowers, so you can expand on the ability that you have to create more floral designs. So I hope you've liked that one. As ever, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel hit that notification bell if you want to be told every time I upload a new tutorial, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. So bye for now.